Hey everybody, Dynamite Show, Paul Fontaine alongside Jeff Hawkins. Well, thank you all for joining us here live on YouTube and X, and as well for everybody listening tomorrow morning, Thursday morning on the Viking Media free feed on the audio feed. We're gonna talk about Dynamite tonight, and we're also gonna just talk a little bit about the news that came out just after we recorded last week. But before we do, Jeff wanted to start with just an overall thought on the Go Home show that we just watched.
I have been, I think, unfairly at times criticized for not praising AEW enough. But I want to bring it into a theory that I've talked about here on the show quite a bit, and my overall prevailing theory that one of the great reasons why AEW fans are so, I wouldn't say they're unhappy, but one of the reasons why there's a kind of a general malaise about AEW is that the fans have never really gotten what they wanted, which was, at the beginning at least, Hangman, Omega, and the Bucks as a babyface stable, all holding the titles, all as the best, all as an FU to WWE. Mm-hmm. When CM Punk came to AEW, he gave the fans what they wanted out of CM Punk. And now in the year of our Lord 2024, 3 or 4 years into this experiment, AEW fans finally get the Bryan Danielson that they've all been waiting for.
Yeah.
Instead of doing some weird... Bryan Danielson is like that action star who decides he wants to do some weird independent art house films that aren't his genre for some reason, and nobody really wants to see that. Like this whole Blackpool Combat Club phase thing of his was kind of just, I'm just going to go over here and act like a heel a little bit and have a little fun and do a few wrestling matches here and there. And even when he was babyface, it wasn't really, his heart wasn't in it. And he was giving those interviews where he says, I don't want to be champion, which worked against the company. It didn't just work against him, it worked against the company. Well, here on the Go Home show, for probably his final full-time match, we finally get the Bryan Danielson that everybody's always wanted. He was fantastic in that segment. Mm-hmm. And it's just, it's baffling to me at times that other people don't see this. And call it out. That segment was great. It's the best thing he's done since he's come to the company, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree.
Non-wrestling, because of course his matches have been great, but his matches have also been hampered by his character work within them.
He's had some really good promos. I can't immediately off the top of my head.
You know what it is? He turns it on for the Go Home promo.
Yeah. I can't think of one off the top of my head that was better than this, and recency bias and all that, and it's the biggest show of the year, and arguably the second biggest segment he's ever done.
No, Curryhead, I won't go
I
that
would
far.
not agree with this at all.
No.
I mean, he did some great
He's had
stuff.
some bangers in WWE. You have to give the devil his due.
And some great promos in WWE, and I mean, he wouldn't be where he is now if it wasn't for the WWE run. So
correct.
The original Best in the World finally appeared. That's what Jeff was saying, summed up in one sentence. Now the problem is it too late? And how many people saw it? Because I will say, I don't know about you, but I noticed seemed not as many people tonight were talking about AEW on Twitter.
Overall, even compared to the Olympics, ratings are going to be down because a lot of people in the States are watching. For some reason, they're watching the convention.
They're watching the convention, plus this was taped.
Yes.
So some people knew the results, and I think that makes more of a difference with Dynamite than it does with WWE.
And the feud has not been the most heated in the world.
Not until the last couple of weeks. I thought they did a great job last week in the Go Home
They
segment.
did a good job, but I meant in general. It's not one of those things that's been building and building and building and building. It's like the last couple of weeks they've kind of turned it on to kind of cram for the test type of a thing.
Hangman and Swerve has been built better.
Yes.
But they wanted to do this storyline, and I mean the way Bryan capped it off here, I mean it was great, and he did a great promo. And I'm not even sure how many people saw it, but it was I believe it was on Collision. Might have even been Rampage. And it was right before the Owens started. And it was, I remember watching that promo and thinking, okay, if he doesn't win this tournament and this title, they've lost their minds. And then the next week, Pac cut a similar promo, and and then by the time it actually happened, I mean, a lot of people hadn't seen the promo, and other people had forgotten about it, and were more focused on an interview he gave to Sports Illustrated where he said he didn't care about the title, and forgot about what he actually said on TV. Because again, maybe forgot about it or didn't see it. And
I mean, he also hasn't done, he hasn't done media for AEW all that much since his
not
reign.
really, just very selective ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I mean, this was the Bryan Danielson that we haven't seen probably since ROH, and that's not to say the best Bryan Danielson, because again, we can both agree there was some really good stuff in WWE, but this Bryan Danielson that AEW fans were waiting for.
Yes.
They didn't want the Bryan Danielson from WWE. They wanted the ROH Bryan Danielson, and that's what they got.
Yeah,
tonight.
And they didn't want him doing some weird, cosplay as Cobra Kai.
They don't seem to mind chanting his WWE catchphrase.
No, and that's a dirty secret too, because
but again, they're also they love the promo, and I mean and he got to cut a promo that he never would have got to cut in WWE. Unless his name was Dwayne Johnson. But it was good. And so they hit a a solid, I don't know if I say home run, but a good ground rule double at least.
It got a cynic like me excited, Paul. I'll take what I can get.
I don't even know. I'm still not positive I'm going to watch the show. I probably will, but I'm so behind on AEW right now that if I do order it, I don't know when I'm going to watch it. So, I am excited about it. So before we get into the show, we also wanted to just bring up last week. We talked about the Australian rumors of the Australian Stadium show, but we also brought up the possibility of Texas Stadium show that had been rumored, and I had speculated that maybe it'll be All In, and maybe they'll move it up a little bit and push it away from All Out. And turns out the very next day, that's what happened. They announced the show, and that's what's happening. They're doing it. I can't remember the exact date. I think it's second week of July. I think it's July 12th. It rings a bell. So as of right now, it'd only be a couple weeks after Forbidden Door. So maybe they move Forbidden Door. Maybe they don't even do Forbidden Door, which would be my vote. But they
especially because All In is quote unquote your WrestleMania now.
Exactly, and they're doing it at Texas in Texas Rangers ballpark. I can't remember, Globe Life Field, I think it is.
Yeah.
35,000. It probably seats for wrestling, which I think they might be able to sell it out. Between the novelty of the first stadium show pay-per-view, being the first pay-per-view in Texas, you're going to get some traveling fans. You're probably going to get some fans that normally would have gone to Double or Nothing, but aren't going because Mania's in Vegas, may decide to go to All In instead.
Yeah, the thing about having a stadium show now for AEW is they've expanded their pay-per-view schedule to 8, so there's not as many travel show things, but I got some more insight this week on Shake Them Ropes because Chris Novembrino lived in Texas for a number of years and reminded me of something I had forgotten. Arlington is not it's not the most accessible city in Texas. It's not a big tourist attraction type thing. It's not really the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area per se. You can't get there by public transit. You can't get there by train.
Okay.
It's kind of a...
So you got to drive or Uber.
You got to drive. It's not... I mean, Arlington's not the biggest city. I mean, it's out there a bit, and it's one of those things where it's not exactly a tourist destination either. People don't go to Arlington necessarily.
And they're trying to change that, right?
You know what this feels like? This feels like the same kind of deal they had with Las Vegas, where the city pays you to come in there and do the...
That is what it is. I mean,
is
that's
it?
What we... Yeah, they're getting paid. I don't know how much. Probably not a ton, but they're not having to pay for the building.
Let me take a look at the
plus
map
right
here
there
real quick, because I have yet to do this, to be honest.
And I do believe, and they also said it's going to be... Basically, what it sounds like is they're probably going to do another residency of Collisions, which I'm not a fan of. Those shows are terrible.
Okay, I'll give you a thing. It's near, according to this, it's near AT&T Stadium.
Okay, well that's not that bad.
That's not that bad, but it's still one of those things where it's like
I stayed in downtown Dallas, and it took me 12 minutes to drive to WrestleMania. So
okay, well I took the bus. Remember?
Oh yeah. Well, the bus was like an hour.
Yeah,
but
Six Flags over Texas is out there. Okay.
Well, that's not too bad.
Maybe Novs.
Well, it could have expanded.
Wrong here.
He could have expanded since he lived there.
He also doesn't like Texas. So
there you go. Well, and that's the other thing. Okay, Texas in July.
There's an Epic Waters indoor water park. There's a Ripley's, believe it or not. There's a Six Flags over Texas.
Sounds like more fun in Texas in July than a stadium.
I would agree.
Sweaty wrestling fans.
Maybe we do that instead. How about that?
Yeah, I may go. It's a nice 2-day drive for me.
I'm being talked into going because it's in Texas and I have friends there.
Yeah, me too. And I enjoy going there. It'll depend if I can convince my wife to go, and she usually takes holidays in July, so we may show up. But yeah, so that's happening, and they're not. So they are going to go to London, I believe Tony said, in 2025, but it won't be obviously for All In. And he also said that they will be back in London in 2026 for All In. I believe that's what he said, but no indication that it's going to be Wembley. So maybe that's when they do that Croker Park or whatever it's called that he's been talking about.
Can we say that it's probably smart to take a year off of the UK too? Because we've gone from 80,000 to 50,000, and I don't think they want to see what's next necessarily.
Well, I think that's exactly it. Mel's asking close, like Rutherford to New York. I think close. I think not that close as that, but in the ballpark.
But
probably more like Long Island.
It's a similar type thing where they're going to say, well, it's in the Dallas area.
Yes, because that's you want to attract fans from there, but you're going to get people from all over Texas.
It's kind of like if they had something. We're going to do a stadium show in L.A. and they put in Carson in the soccer stadium down there. It's close to L.A., but it's not close to L.A. It's kind of a similar thing.
Or Tampa St. Pete, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize she was being sarcastic. Well, sorry.
The font hasn't come out yet.
Exactly. All right, so we got a packed show here, and then we also want to do a little bit of a show preview. Although I didn't write down the matches, so I'll be relying on Wiki for that. Okay. I got to ask. Apparently, during this show, I'll use the word advertised, promoted. I don't know what. They apparently talked about a match that's going to happen on Collision, which is going to be two trios.
They've announced the two trios too.
Right, they announced it on Twitter. Apparently, they did it on the show. I didn't see it.
They announced that there would be a wild card that would come from the Collision match.
But did they say what the Collision match was going to be?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I was told they did, and I think who told me was either wrong or else it was a graphic that flashed quickly and flashed right off.
Right.
They never brought attention to it, which is entirely possible because they do that all the time. Because, there's many times when I'll mention something on a show and you didn't see it because I'm actually writing stuff down. But this is the thing.
No, but the funny thing is one of those teams is like, I was thinking, okay, who could be this wild card? And then they combined two of the teams I thought would be.
Yeah, it's Claudio and Wheeler and Pac.
And Pac, yeah.
And didn't Pac team with them in a blood and guts match and walk out on his team?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just making sure I remember.
But I'm guessing the Lucha Brothers may not be available or may not be willing to travel anymore.
Yeah, or a little of both.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other thing is, so they apparently mentioned this match. So Claudio's wrestling on Saturday. Now we know it's taped. The fans may not realize it's taped. They said that the reason Claudio versus Pac was on tonight's show instead of All In is because Claudio is wrestling at Arena Mexico on Friday. They said that in commentary.
Did they?
They did.
Huh.
At the same time as promoting a match that Claudio's going to have on Saturday in Cardiff, and which is a qualifier.
Kayfabe is alive and well, brother. I am here for it.
But it's also a qualifying match to get into All In on Sunday.
Yes.
So he's wrestling a qualifying match, even though they said the reason that they're not having the Continental Classic match on All In is because Claudio can't make it. So, But even though he can't make it, he's wrestling in a qualifying match to get on the card. And not only that, he can't make it, even though it's 2 days from now till Friday, and it's 2 days from Friday till Sunday. So it takes him the same amount of time to get to Mexico as it takes him to get back. This makes no sense. They should have just not said anything.
Wrestling!
Yes. All right. So with that little nitpick out of the way, we got a cold open on this show, and they're in Cardiff, and they sold out. It's a relatively small building, just under 5,000.
It's really nice of AEW to play the third world.
Yes. And not only that, so they sold out despite the fact that they never even announced this card until about 2 weeks ago.
No.
Even though tickets have been on sale for 3 months.
Yes.
What they did was they put the tickets on sale, didn't really advertise it, had exorbitant ticket prices. And then they ended up selling about 3,000. And then about 2 weeks ago, they started advertising it. They dropped the prices and they sold the building out. So our friend Lisa Gifford, who's been on the show before, she looked up the tickets when they first went on sale. And fifth row was, I want to say she said it was about £1,000. And she got the same seats for £75 2 weeks ago. So that's just so if you bought tickets for this show.
If you buy tickets early now, you're a sucker.
Yes, and they're basically telling you that. So anyways, great crowd. During the cold open, the announcers were talking. You could barely hear them because the crowd was chanting so loud. And I mean, part of that's audio issues, but they were really, really loud. And we open with Mercedes and Britt contract signing. Tony Schiavone tells us they've agreed to no physicality. Not the first time that would happen tonight, and not even sure why they bothered saying it, because there was physicality here and there was physicality the next time they told us there wasn't going to be. But
I now want to hear what happens if they don't agree to no physicality.
Well, we heard $127,000 fine for Will Ospreay, and he decided it was worth it to get one shot in on MJF and end up bloodied.
Well, I mean during the negotiations.
Oh,
you agree to no physicality? No, we're gonna do the segment anyways.
Yeah, MJF, we agree to no physicality. What happens if I don't? Match is off. MJF, cool. Yeah. All right, so they agreed to no physicality. Crowd booed that. They sit down at the table, and this was great. So Mercedes and Britt are sitting across from each other. Tony Schiavone's standing up. Camille is standing beside Tony. She's never looked bigger. It was a great visual, the way they shot this. And Mercedes was wearing her heels again, so it's a good thing she wasn't standing up. She looked incredible. Like, she just looked like a monster. So Mercedes says, "You're the past and I'll forever be the future." And then she signed the contract. Britt says, "That's cute. Last year in All In, you were in crutches sitting in the audience watching me. And before there was a CEO, there was a DMD." And Mercedes says, "Well, people only like you because they're losers just like you. Fans are trying to shut the fuck up." And she looks at them and she says, "You shut up. You paid to see me. You know who's my biggest fan? You." And she points at Britt. "This is your dream match. I inspired you to become a role model and a wrestler. Are you really all in? You went and got a degree as a backup because you weren't even sure you could make it. I put women's wrestling on the map, and that's all in. You don't have the guts to go all in like me because you're not like me, and this Sunday you will not beat me." Really good promo. I mean, she was just a despicable heel here. And Britt says, "The guts? I had the guts. I had the guts, the heart, and the balls. I never had a plan B. I had 2 plan A's. You're the blueprint. I'm the gold standard. You're one of 4. I'm one of 1. You pride yourself on being a star maker. Well, I'm Britt Baker, and I'm the baddest bitch on the block. I admired you. I wanted to be you. You walked so girls like me could run. Girls like me could be the first female signee and the foundation of this company you're in right now. You made a difference." Fans are chanting AEW. She said, "That person doesn't exist anymore. That person's gone. You're a smug, arrogant ass. You care more about being the highest paid female in professional wrestling than your own damn legacy. I don't know where that girl went, but I hope you find her again. I hope you find her fast, because when I win that TBS title on Sunday at All In, that's the girl I want to be able to say I beat. I'll follow the rules. I'm not going to hit you." And she looks at Camille, "But this bitch is getting on my nerves." And she attacked her, did a crossbody on both of them. She hit Mercedes with a clipboard. Kind of broke the rules a little bit, but I love this segment. I thought it was great. Both women were outstanding.
Cool, because I wrote that I didn't care for it.
Oh, okay.
But I'm going to explain myself a bit. Number one,
Okay.
Camille Camille not dressed to take physicality, though. That's the other thing.
No, she's real
great.
worried about
Yeah,
the puppies falling out.
Yeah, I fell for her. You're right on Mercedes, because Mercedes is playing a character. Mercedes is playing a flake. Mercedes is very good at playing this flake character. It is her character. It is the Sasha Banks character with a new name. She is great at it. She is phenomenal at it. The Brit part is what I didn't like.
Okay.
Because the Brit part, let me get my main criticism and then I'll support it. It felt scripted. You know what I mean? It felt like
auditioning for
it felt like community theater to me. It felt like whereas she's been getting jumped for the past couple weeks. I don't want her to monologue, really. I don't want her to say, and to me this felt a lot like a Triple H I respect you promo before those matches, which every opponent had to do. You know what? If Britt had just come out and I don't want to hear you just want to be the highest paid female wrestler, blah, blah, blah. If I could have one wish in wrestling, and this is going to be prevalent throughout the show, get rid of the fourth wall breaking, kids. Just make it seem real. That's all I want out of it.
Bringing up the 1 of 4 too. You're talking about
the 1 of 4. You're talking to 1 of 1. It's like, yeah, well, what have you really done? You know, it's not
she's also bringing up WWE.
No, I get that, but at the same time, it's also not true because AEW is not on the same level as WWE. I'm sorry for people who don't want to hear that, but it's true.
Well, some people will agree with you, but they just won't take it the way you did.
No, I know that,
is on a different level.
But I wanted anger out of Britt. Really, I wanted her to just.
Yeah, it was more snarky than angry.
It was, and that's the problem. Yeah. This is the Brit. This is the Brit MO. It's almost like she's not emotionally connected to the feud. You know what I'm saying? And that was my problem here.
That's probably because she's losing.
Well, no, but I mean, in her actual performance, it feels like she's in a scene, and now I'm gonna monologue about something because I really wasn't paying attention to what you're saying, and I have a couple of really stock lines that I've been thinking of in the backs for when I came out here or whatever type of a thing. You know, it's almost being dismissive of all the work that Mercedes did to lead up to the moment that Britt was supposed to respond. Britt wasn't responding. Britt was waiting to talk. And that was my problem with it.
Okay. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I like the fire. I like the content. Other than the one, just the one little thing, the 1 of 4, 1 of 4, 1 of 1 line. But yeah, I mean, Cyclops.
I won't go that
far. Call me crazy. I think Britt's phoning it in. She may want out because she's been having wrestling CM Punk face. I've seen this from other people as well, and. It's
this to me though is normal Brit.
Yes.
When Brit was sandbagging people when she was the 1 of 1, this was what she was doing in the promo. She was just doing the Britt Baker experience.
I have a prediction. If Brit ends up leaving, we're gonna find out that line that she threw into a promo about how the CEO chants are piped into the music was not okayed ahead of time, even though it probably was.
Yeah, there'll be people bitching about that, but I don't really care about those theatrics.
Yeah,
I'm just concentrating on the acting part right now, and the acting part wasn't getting to me.
Fair enough. I was into it, and I especially I like the way this was framed. I like just everything about it, really.
I think Britt should actually go as far as to call her a fraud to her face, almost, because it's because it's true. This is her dream match. She said, if I could face any. I'd want it to be Sasha Banks right now. She's getting exactly what she wants. Use that in some way.
Or even say, I wanted the best women's wrestler in the world. I didn't want this.
Yeah. But I don't need the I respect you stuff.
Yeah.
We've been feuding for 3 weeks and beating each other up.
I respected you, but I don't respect you now.
Yes. There we go. That'll get me to where I want to go.
I honestly think that maybe was even what she intended, but it's not what really came out. Because I think that mindset. You know what
this was? This was the Okada promo from last week with Claudio. I don't want the Rainmaker, blah blah blah. I want the Rainmaker that won the G1 type of a thing.
Exactly what that was, actually. Except Claudio, I mean, he was shorter and to the point.
Yes.
All right. Renee was backstage with Chris Jericho. She says, "You're moments away from going 1-on-1 with Tommy Billington. He says, "Hi guys." The crowd booed that, which I like that. He calls it Cardiff, England, and
That
they
was
booed
great.
that.
That was a great move right there.
He says, "Tommy Billington calls himself the Dynamite Kid. What right does he have? Just because he's your uncle and he's your blood? He was one of the greatest pro wrestlers of all time. Are you as fast as him? Are you as good as him? As angry, as mean as him? You haven't earned the right to be on Dynamite." He said, "This is your chance to prove yourself. And Hook, you take a look at what I do to Tommy Billington, because I'm going to do it sevenfold to you. And when we get to Wembley Stadium on Sunday," and he walks away, and Brian Keith sticks around, and he waits, and he waits, and then he screams into the mic, "Big ass Wembley Stadium." That's it. You earned your money. Cash,
check, please.
Yeah, it's a great job if you can get it, because he probably doesn't have to wrestle on Sunday, right? He just gets to show up.
He'll take a bump.
He'll take a bump for Hook.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Just maybe like he took a bump for Billington today.
Maybe get to say a line here or there. But yeah, it's decent.
You still
promo.
get paid. You still get paid for being on the Wembley show.
Absolutely.
It's better than what Emi Sakura's getting, and she deserves to be on a Wembley show.
Oh my God. Yeah. So we got Chris Jericho and Tommy Billington. Now,
yes,
I'm going to say something that is not going to be popular.
Okay. I'm here for this.
The last time we saw Tommy Billington was against Konosuke Takeshita. I think it was on Collision. I think this was his first time on Dynamite. And before that, he wrestled FTR.
I think it might have been a Rampage. I don't even think it was a Collision necessarily.
Might have been.
You might be right. You might be right.
I think it was Collision. I think it was Collision in Vancouver.
You are the historian. I defer to you.
I think it was Collision in Vancouver. I think Preet Paul was there, and he'd back me up if he's watching or listening. Okay. But anyways, so that match, people loved it. People raved about it. I didn't like it. And I'll tell you why. Because Billington was going toe-to-toe with him. He was trading punches with the guy that was twice his size. Takeshita was selling it like he was Brody King. He wasn't using his aerial stuff. He wasn't using his speed. He was just wrestling like he was 300 pounds. And I didn't like it. I just thought it just completely took me out of it. It made a mockery of wrestling. Takeshita did a great job carrying him and making a great match. He got all the stars, but it just wasn't for me. Chris Jericho worked the match to Tommy Billington's strengths. Tommy Billington ran circles around him. He was hitting him with flying moves. He was doing stuff that was actually believable. And I even got people saying Chris Jericho looked bad. Yeah, he's supposed to look bad. He's trying to make his opponent look good. And he did it. And I thought this was, and I think actually Billington may have put on a little bit of weight since the last time too. Or it's just that maybe, or he's just because he's in there with Jericho instead of being in there with Takeshita, who's like a freaking Greek god. Is it
the other bulldog that looks that has the same?
No, it's him, but he changed. So when he wrestled Dax, he looked like Dynamite Kid stepped off of a time machine from 1979.
Okay, because I remember I've seen footage of them as a team, and it's like I thought one of them was a lot more jacked and almost on the gas. You'd accuse him of being this guy.
The other guy might be the one that's on the gas because this guy's always been small. But that's why I said 1979. It was before Dynamite Kid got on the gas. But facially, he looked the same. He had a buzz cut when he wrestled Dax.
Yes,
then he grew his hair out, and now he doesn't look anything like Dynamite. But
this still looked like JV team versus varsity team in some ways.
A little bit. I mean, he's a rookie.
And Jericho's thick, and maybe he hasn't just gotten into the weight room and done all those other things. I find it odd because I don't know how it came across on your TV, but it came across on my TV that he didn't get much of a reaction when he came out. Maybe it was the playing of the British Bulldog thing.
It was more. I mean, we got some Let's Go Tommy. We got Fuck 'em Up Tommy, Fuck 'em Up.
I just think the Dynamite Kid might be past a lot of people's nostalgia range, to be honest.
Well, there's that, and I'm not even sure this guy's actually from the UK. I think he might.
No, he's not. He's Canadian.
Yeah, I think so.
He's one of your people.
Yeah. But they, and then they chanted both these guys, so I think they were more into they knew who he was. They probably watched. They watched.
They knew the audience knew the score. The audience knew that we're bringing in this guy with British.
He came out to the Bulldog music,
attachments. So, yes, This everybody kind of in on the joke.
Yeah,
and I mean, wouldn't it be good if he got signed too? Or, I believe he.
He did. Signed. I think he got signed after the last match. So, he got to shine. He got a lot of moves in. He had a tombstone pile driver, and then he went to the top, but he dove onto Brian Keith instead of Jericho. And then he dodged Big Bill, who went after him, and he went into the barricades. Then he went to the top again, but Jericho hit him with a code breaker on the way down, and he got the pin. So, I mean, it came off almost like Jericho was lucky, but I mean, it was more like.
Well, it's fascinating because I think Hook looks smaller than Billington.
Oh yeah, everybody. yeah, I'd agree. So Jericho asked for a mic. He said, "Hi guys," and they booed again. Hook, you stupid bastard! I hope you're watching. I'm going to do the same to you at All In. And if you were right here now in Cardiff, England, I'd rip you apart branch by branch by branch by branch by branch. I wrote down the amount of branches he said. And of course, out comes Hook because so they had advertised Hook versus Big Bill for this show. And I think it's even on our show notes, but apparently that's on Collision. So I don't know if they ran out of time because they added a bunch of stuff this afternoon to the show. And so I have a feeling that maybe they just bumped Big Bill because they're taping Collision tonight. Or they already taped it. Actually, this show was taped in the afternoon. So I don't know what happened. I don't look at spoilers, but so they're wrestling on Collision. So the idea was Jericho didn't know Hook was there because he's not wrestling till Saturday. And so when he got there, Bill
maybe he's taking
him.
That Claudio plane back and forth.
Yeah. So he gets to the ring and he doesn't get his hands on Jericho. Bill attacked him, choke slammed him, and that was that. And I actually thought maybe that's just the match. They did this, but they said no, they're wrestling on Saturday.
That was an impressive choke slam by Big Bill.
It was Bill. He got to Hook weight. Well,
Hook went up for him, and props to Hook as well. Yeah, it's so weird because Hook's the no talk tough guy, and he just comes in and he just stares at Jericho like, you're an idiot. You deserve this beating. That's all I can think of.
Yeah. We have a lot of matches on the show on Sunday, and we'll run down the card later.
Hold on, an AEW pay-per-view with just trying to stuff matches to the gills like a 10-pound sausage in a 5-pound bag. Yes,
there was 10 before tonight. I can't imagine we're going to have less than 15.
This pay-per-view is going 12 hours.
Yeah, but no, my point being,
it's like a Dead concert.
There's a lot of them that seem like they're set up where the babyface has to win.
Yeah,
but I have a feeling there's going to be some heels winning, so we have to try to figure out which ones are going to be. And I think maybe Jericho might actually retain this title here. The storyline has been for Hook to get it back.
If Hook beats Big Bill, then WWE style booking says yes, that Jericho then gets the win.
Yeah, exactly. And then with this next one. So Toni Storm versus Saraya for the AEW Women's title. How did Saraya get a AEW Women's title shot, you ask? Tony gave it to her because it was her birthday on the weekend. That's literally the storyline.
Yes.
So
and they're going to be in quote unquote her home or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So they had this match, and I've been on the record as saying, okay, when they get to Wembley, these fans are going to cheer Mariah and they're going to boo Toni Storm because Mariah's from England and Toni is not. I think I was wrong.
I think you're dead wrong. I said you were wrong at the time.
Well, I think she's like Bailey. I think that they're going to be singing for her the whole time. I think there might not be 50 people in that stadium who know who Mariah May is, even though she's from England. I'm exaggerating, but not 1,000.
I would agree.
Yeah. So, this match, I mean, Toni got a great pop coming out. Saraya, who is like UK's signature star, got booed. I mean, she, by the time they did the match, they were kind of back and forth, but they were mostly cheering for Toni. The graphic points out that Saraya was actually the last person to beat Toni. So that might have been more of a reason to get a title shot than her birthday. There lots of loud Toni chants. They did a lot of comedy early. Toni was posing. Yes. They're doing like British sports style wrestling, whatever that is, like their Colt Cabana. It was brutal, but the fans just loved it. So whatever.
Did they?
I think so.
I couldn't notice due to my weird sound.
Oh
issues.
No, they were loud. Yeah, they loved it. They go through a break. They come back, and they're chanting Toni Storm, Toni Storm, and they just loved it. Toni's in control. Paige hit Saraya hit the nightcap.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I know. I just watched that match yesterday. The one with Harley Cameron. The DDT by Saraya. Toni made the ropes to break the count, and then they're doing dueling chants now. Toni hit a sky high. Harley distracted the ref. So how does Toni counter that? Give her a big old kiss on the lips, and Harley was into it. She was smitten, and she jumps off the apron, and then she turns around, and Saraya collided with her, and Toni rolled her up for 2, and she gave her a big smooch, and gave her a pile driver, and that was it for the win. So, yeah, that was it.
I think that's the last time we see Saraya in an AEW ring.
It's possible. I think she signed a 2-year contract, and
the rumor is her contract's coming up soon.
Debuted it all out in September 22. So yeah,
it was a nice thought, but it did nothing for this company. In my opinion,
you got the. You know what? Last year when she won the title, that was a great moment.
That was a good moment. You got a moment, okay, for her. But not for the company, necessarily.
But I would say, like, remember when she debuted and she was going to take over the division and she did that State of the Union type thing, and she was, like, running the division for a little while.
And then the Outcast came up, and it was just dead.
She did more damage than good, I think, at that point.
Yes.
So...
That said, push Harley Cameron to the moon. I don't care.
I think they got to line her up with Mariah, I think.
That's fine. That's fine by me. She's game for anything. She has become enjoyable to me, even when she's doing bad comedy. To me, I don't know what it is because I usually don't like these kinds of acts. But it's one of those things where I'm just like, she has actual comedy chops. I'm kind of enjoying.
I gotta find this promo and send it to you. So it was on ROH a couple weeks ago, and
is this the one where she's walking behind and just kind of saying things like during the promo?
Rachel Ellering is doing a promo.
Okay.
And she just had a match, and I guess she'd been off for a little while due to injury, and this promo was rough. And
it's Rachel Ellering. You didn't need to say
Maria Santos, is that her name? Cage's wife?
Melissa Santos.
Melissa Santos, right. She's just as bad.
Yes.
And so they're back and forth doing the worst promo you've ever seen. And all of a sudden, Harley Cameron walks in. Now, keep in mind, Harley Cameron is not in ROH. She's never wrestled on ROH. She's never done a promo in ROH. She walks in and she looks over and she's, so this is ROH. And Melissa kind of looks at her and Rachel's like, yeah? She's like, oh. And then she looks at her and she's like, I saw your match. You're really good in the ring, but you got to change this look. And then she's like, she looks at her and she's like, yeah, like, and your promo is good, but just all this, just change it all. And then she walks off.
Like I said, she has chops. I don't know what it is.
I didn't do it justice. I got to find you this promo and send it to you. It's just so weird.
No, I can imagine it in my head, and it already sounds fantastic.
And then they ended the promo, and they both just, Rachel and Melissa looked at each other and looked at the camera, and then they just cut and went to the next match.
We've been upstaged. Let's go to the next match.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So I don't know if that led. I imagine it led to a match because I'm a couple weeks behind. So.
Does WWE kick the tires on Saraya again?
I've had people ask me this, and the only thing I can see is like she could
one shot.
Yeah, like maybe the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Or an on-screen authority role. Maybe she could come in and be like Ava's mentor or something.
Oh, that's what we need. Is a 10th administrator in NXT.
Yeah, because I don't really see a role for her there. Like, she's not very good in the ring. She's not a good promo. But I mean, she could do social media stuff for them or something.
See, it's weird. She's not a great promo, but in WWE, she means something.
Yeah, like she's got that history, that cachet.
Yeah, she has. I was the head of the women's revolution or whatever.
Put her in a Legends deal. Let her do her cameo stuff because they allow that now.
Impact may sign her.
Well, if she wants to go there.
No, but WWE, I could see. Okay, never mind. Let's move on. Sorry,
and we haven't seen Zach Knight in a while either, so I think maybe that might have just been a short-term deal.
He was actually pretty good from what I saw.
He was not bad. I mean, he
wasn't doing 5-star bangers.
He didn't stand out, but he didn't stand out in a bad way either. He was just another name.
He's on the level with who was it?
Josh Woods.
JWoww's boyfriend who was in
there.
The
you
company
go.
For a little bit.
Yeah. He was Zach too, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. Zach Clayton.
Yes.
I didn't have to look that up.
Wow.
I just noticed at this point that Justin Roberts wasn't ring announcing, so I don't know why, but it was Bobby Cruz.
I don't think he made the trip.
He announced her as the winner, and then before she got to celebrate, Mariah May attacked her. She got booed, and then she got booed at first because the fans wanted to see Toni, but then it wasn't like heat for Mariah, because when the camera was focused on Mariah and she was walking up, there's no reaction to her. They don't know her at all. Which kind of surprises me, but whatever. I was told by people that lived there that she was going to be really over, but she kissed her, cradled her. Taz called it wonked and wacky.
She hasn't had the knock it out of the park promo, though. That's what's going to make her, and we're still waiting on it, kind of.
That first one was good, but nobody could hear it.
No, and then she did the weird Toni impression, and that was just dumb.
Yeah. No, that was the one that was actually good.
Oh, okay.
But the fans couldn't hear it, and she was actually if you actually could hear it, which they couldn't.
And what they don't want is the exposition stuff. They want to hear a promo from her.
Yeah, and the violence part, they're into, because it's two women fighting.
Yes.
But as soon as you actually have to care about somebody,
but they like Toni's weirdness, so it's one of those things
that
they're fighting against.
Yeah, and I don't think she's got that it factor, like Bayley, she's always gonna be popular. So next we go backstage again to Renee, and she's with the conglomeration, and Willow's there too. God. Mark Briscoe.
Willow's part of the conglomeration.
Is she? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So her and Roddy Kyle and Orange and what is he? Tommy, Big Tom.
Big Tom.
Yeah. So the conglomeration is in the house. The word of the day is deliberation. We had deliberated across the pond.
No, it's proliferation.
Oh, proliferation. Okay, we have proliferated across the pond. Sunday, the biggest show of the year. Willow and Big Tom are going to deliver an ass whooping. Me and Kyle O'Reilly and Orange Cassidy in the Casino Gauntlet. Collision. We are Wembley. We are Cardiff, Wales. Undisputed Kingdom conglomeration. Let's get it on, boys. Somewhere in the middle of this, Kyle O'Reilly decided to cut a promo like he was a newsie.
Stop.
Okay.
This is the promo of Kyle O'Reilly's career.
If you say
this thing, where he puts on a perfectly good Cockney accent, and he starts to, or it might have even been Irish. I don't know. I don't know what this was. I don't know my accents that well. All I know is this is the best thing Kyle O'Reilly's ever done, other than the air guitar crap with the belt.
He was doing Oliver Twist.
Okay, then it's more Cockney, I think.
Yeah. But,
excuse me, Gubna. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. But you thought you liked it?
It didn't overstay its welcome,
okay,
and I don't think that. And I don't think that highly of Kyle O'Reilly's promos. So yes,
he starts talking.
He's a man without a personality, Paul, and he showed personality here.
There you go. He either forgot his words or he realized it wasn't working and stopped.
No, he got scared and bailed is what he did. I think he just forgot his promo or whatever he was going to do with it. Or he says, I'm going to wing it. Or he did this on purpose, or it was scripted like this.
I'm making fun of these people.
Yes. That could be it too. But at the same time, I'm watching this going, my God, I want him like this all.
It was
yes,
better. It was better than Cool Kyle. I'll give him that. Oh, God. And
don't ever bring that evil back in here, Paul. Don't ever.
They all leave, and we're left with Renee and Orange Cassidy, and again, they mumble words to each other.
Thing on this, I can hear it.
I have no idea what either one.
I'm sure the joke was funny, but this stuff.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't. But either way, I didn't rewind it to listen to what they said. So I didn't
get a boom mic if you have to, kids.
I think they're doing this on purpose.
You think they're doing mumblecore?
Yeah, because they've done it twice now.
By the way, that's the only time you'll hear mumblecore on a wrestling podcast.
All right, now here we go. I have a feeling we may differ on this next segment, and I wrote a lot.
I'm trying to think.
Be prepared. Will Ospreay. He's out with a mic. He gets a huge pop. Hugged a bunch of fans on his way to the ring, and they pointed out here that both him and MJF have agreed to no physicality. Crowd singing for MJF. Ospreay is milking it like he's Hulk Hogan in Montreal. MJF's music hits, gets a loud boo, and as soon as it goes off, they go back to singing for Will Ospreay. Ospreay, 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 and MJF's not impressed. So Ospreay gets a mic. Cardiff, like he's Mercedes. Guys, don't leave me out. give Max a warm welcome here. They all start chanting wanker. And I note here that they put a graphic on the screen. Countdown's back on TNT this Saturday after Collision. And he says it's unusual for an Englishman to be this loved in Wales. This is what I put it down to. It's like I wrote down Gavin and Stacey.
Gavin and Stacey.
Okay, and it's a reference to, I am assuming
it's a reference to a BBC sitcom. I actually looked this up for you.
Okay, well,
it was created by James Corden, he formerly of the Late Late Show. This is back in 2007.
The prick, yeah.
Yes.
So this is where he come up and met a Welsh girl and fell in love. So I assume Alex Windsor is Welsh.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. And everyone here's seen my journey. I've wrestled here in church halls, a Celtic bingo hall. Last year, I wrestled in a bar that's filthier than the wife. That's what he said, right? I think his accent sometimes. Sunday is about cleaning up the mess you made here. Ladies and gentlemen, or whatever you identify as, you might as well call me Barry Scott. By Sunday and the end of day is gone. That's what I got out of this. I don't know who Barry Scott is, and Excalibur didn't know, and he told everyone to Google it. So, did you?
I Googled it, and then I couldn't figure out who he was.
Okay, so it doesn't matter. So MJF gets a mic, and he says, "You cleaned up my..."
He's a British character. He's a ad pitch man. That is, he's a character. He's kind of like Ernest P. Worrell. In the UK type of a thing.
Okay. So Ospreay is talking to the 5,000 people in the building and not the 500,000 watching on TV. Just pointing that out. Anyways, MJF gets a mic and he says, "You cleaned up my mess? That's interesting, buddy. Jam-packed arenas chanted my name twice as loud as they ever have for yours. Who are you?" Oh, fans chanted, "Who are you?" He says, "I'm talking. And unlike you, I didn't have to be a cute little flip merchant to get the job done. All I had to do was this." And he does the kangaroo's kick. Fans chanted, "Shut the fuck up." And he says, "No." And he says, "So you cleaned up my mess, buddy? Did you know that I came back early before I was fully rehabilitated? Do you folks want to know why? It was because I was begged by top brass at AEW and top brass at Warner Brothers Discovery to clean up your mess, you arrogant little prick." So we're getting heated here. Ospreay says, "Arrogant? You have the nerve to call me arrogant? Look in the mirror and shut up. We're all watching. Everyone, including myself, heard about this renegade wrestling promotion that put wrestling first, that catered to people that like pro wrestling." Fans chanted AEW.
Can we stop with this being a renegade promotion, given that it's on a national cable channel?
Yeah, this part lost me a little bit. And he says, "You turned on the camera. We turned on the camera and saw you as the world champion. We all started giggling. Double clothesline was hilarious, but the joke went on too long. Culminated at Wembley. No one talked about it like an epic clash. It was two friends jerking each other off. You talk about begging you to show up. I wasn't even employed here last year. Tony Khan gets on the phone with me. He's got like 3,000 people signed in the back there, but he calls me. And it was mainly to remind people what professional wrestling is supposed to look like. Between you and me, Will, what? Oh yeah, this is from Tony Khan. It says, "Between you and me, Will, do please put on a good wrestling match because I can't rely on my world champion to do it. Max, you have given everyone here entertainment. We all need entertainment. But we're meant to be the alternative to cater to them and their voices. This is not only about restoring the international champion, it's about restoring the feeling, and bruv, I am the feeling." Now, I'm going to stop here because I didn't like this at all, this part, because there's no way I believe that Tony Khan got on the phone with him and told him that he can't trust MJF to wrestle, because we've all seen MJF wrestle and we know he can wrestle. He has great matches. He had a great match with Punk, Danielson, even the match with Cole everyone liked until the finish.
You're missing the point, but you're right at the same time.
Okay, what point did I miss?
Because this entire segment was to lead up to the blow up of MJF. He's
right. Okay, and I'll get there, and I got that, so I didn't miss it. You
didn't miss it, but you're explaining it away in the wrong way here. But at the same time, I think you and I might be on the same wavelength, as opposed to me and Chris Zellner, who kind of disagreed as to which part of this promo was good and which was bad. Because you and I agree, I didn't like this at all because it's too much fourth wall. It was too insidery. It wasn't personal. It was.
Yeah.
Go ahead though.
All right. So his response, MJF's response. You hear that, guys? He's the feeling. Crowd starts singing his name. And he says, you know what, Will? Out of all the trash that just came out of your mouth, you got one thing right. I don't care about catering these people. They're meaningless. I care about one thing, and it's what Americans do best. We win.
Yes.
You know what's so sad, Thought Man? I actually believed that four-eyed, curly-haired dork Tony Khan, that the company would be safe in your capable hands. Dude, who the hell are you? Crowd sing his name. And he says, you only know him because you're red coat terrorists. Everyone knows who MJF is. Everyone loves MJF. Professional wrestling analysts, that would be me and you. Present-day world champions, legends, all unanimously agree that I'm the best professional wrestler on God's green earth. Who told you that you were the best in the world? He points at the fans. He said, stop.
I was waiting for Dave Meltzer?
Yeah. Them? The fans? Really? Will, that's so sad. These people know nothing about professional wrestling. You know how I know that's true, Will? Because they like your matches. You can be the feeling all you want, bruv, because Friedman is the facts. I'm the youngest and longest reigning AEW World Champion of all time. The fact is, I headlined and won the biggest show of all time. The fact is, when they talk about this generation, I'll be the ace and you'll be in second place. I hail from the only country that matters, the United States of America. Preach. And most importantly, you have one move in your chamber. It's the only move that can defeat me, and you ain't man enough to pull the trigger. You and your little fans can feel all they want because I'm the facts, and the facts don't care about feelings.
Pulling out the Ben Shapiro stuff.
He hit a home run with this one. This is where it got good.
Yes, this is where it started to get good because this is where it got personal.
Yeah, and personal and business, like
personal within the realm of
yeah.
This but no, continue because from here because everything before that was meh.
Will
here is where I started to get excited.
Yeah, so Will turns it up and he says, "Congratulations! There's something I know about wrestling. It can be easily rewritten. What can't be rewritten is how they feel. You've never inspired a single person to do this. Who am I? Go over all Europe. Ask them. Go to Australia. Go to New Zealand. Go to Japan. Ask them who the best wrestler is. They'll all tell you it's Will Ospreay. Go to America. Go to your own state and ask them. They'll say it's Will Ospreay. Go up and down this country and ask who the best wrestler is. They'll all say it's Will Ospreay. I can't lose. In front of my wife and my kids, it took you 4 years to win them over. It took me 4 weeks, and all I needed was my match and my music. They used to love you, and they don't love you anymore. And
it took me 4 notes of my music.
4 notes of my music, right?
Yeah.
And they used to love you, and they don't love you anymore. And this is where MJF was gotten to. And this, like you brought it up earlier, now it all made sense. Like this was all about getting MJF to feel insecure about the fact that he used to be the guy, and he's not anymore.
But I didn't like this story because MJF's always been a jerk. He's always been somebody's scumbag. Why would he?
But he's always been about proving that he's more than just a good promo.
I get it, but
that was always the back of all of this stuff, was that I'm a wrestler. I'm going to be I'm going to have the best 4-way. I'm going to have the best strap match. I'm going to have the best hardcore.
All right,
match.
you're talking me into it.
All right. So he says, they loved me until you showed up and you ruined it. You know what, Will? You're right. I can never be like you. You're a great human being and a role model. You're a great husband, a great father, a great pro wrestler. I fell short of being the face of AEW, and you've manned up and you've done it. However, before the show, I got to spend a little time with your wife and that so-called kid of yours. Yeah, I said it. So-called kid. His wife was in a prior relationship and had a child with that man. And then Will Ospreay stepped in the picture and raised that child like it's his own. I got one more fact for you, little feeling boy. I got a feeling that after the conversation I had with your wife, the next kid she has won't be yours either.
This was a fantastic line.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, it was so ridiculous and preposterous, but it worked.
It was dirty pool, and I loved every minute of it.
What I didn't like was him admitting that he wasn't that he wasn't the face of the company. He wasn't a great, all that was just not anything that MJF would ever say. So,
yeah. No, you had a Brit problem a little bit here with MJF. It's like, okay, this is more the person talking or not, whatever, versus the character talking type
exactly.
thing. Yeah.
So then Will's gotten to now. and he says, Tony Schiavone, you got Tony Khan in your ear, right? How much is that fine if I decide to get physical? And then Tony Schiavone grabs the mic and he says, the fine is 100,000 pounds, sterling pounds.
Oh, this pissed me off. It's like, Tony, look, we know you're in the UK. Just say 100,000 pounds. That's all you need to say.
Which is 127,000 US. And then Will says, 100K, eh? It's worth it. And then he smacks him.
I like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, we're all waiting for it. Now he super kicked him. And security swarmed the ring. Ospreay's fighting him off. He got some kicks into MJF. MJF lays him out with a mic. He laid him out with his ring. And then he mounts him and he starts beating on him. Opened him up, cut him. Fans are chanting wanker. Gave him a brain buster, and then he counted 3. Went to give him a tiger driver. More security's out, including Chris Daniels. Fans were so into it, they were chanting Fallen Angel.
They weren't into it. That's the problem. They were chanting Fallen Angel instead of booing.
Yeah, no, I'm being sarcastic.
I know you're being sarcastic. It just that made me mad about this segment because it's like they put in such work in this, and you friggin'
idiots,
ironic fans.
Be like, remember when Pat McAfee ruined an angle by that's Jamie Noble.
Both these guys.
Yeah. And Excalibur points out that MJF might get suspended for this, but I don't think he will. And Will got a lot of blood here. He was bleeding pretty bad, which we'll get to again later. Kind of funny segment, actually, a little bit later. Wasn't meant to be funny. Renee's backstage, and she says there was an altercation in the office, and I understand that Hangman Page has been asked to leave the building, so I'm trying to get a word with him, and she stops him on his way out. He's got his suitcase, and he said, Hangman, what happened? And he said, I did what I had to do. I'm in the casino gauntlet, and understand me, if you're in this match and you stand between me and the world champion, I'm going to run you down. And then all of a sudden, Evil Uno's walks by.
Just walks by.
Hey! And, okay, couple things about this. All right. First off, isn't he a heel? Didn't we just see him doing something dastardly, like, not that long ago?
It was a while ago, and I don't.
Well, no, it's not that long ago because it was against Dustin Rhodes.
Was it?
And the Von Erichs. They were terrible heels in that thing. That was like
they're
2 weeks
terrible
ago.
heels. Let's put it that way.
So not only that, but apparently he's in this casino gauntlet for a world title shot on the biggest show of the year. Evil fucking Uno.
Well, he's one of the 21 that is in it.
They may need a sub.
I think he's like number 18, so he won't ever get out there.
Or he might be like number 6 when they're just trying to fill up the ring. But anyways, so he walks by and Hangman says, do you know anyone in the match? And Evil Uno says, yeah, I'm in the casino gauntlet. So Hangman attacked him with a chair. And then he said, and they pointed out that it's his former friend. And he said, like I said, I don't care who you are. If you're in my way, I'll run you over. I will make his joy, his happiness, and his hopes and dreams go up in smoke. So he never says the name of Swerve, but obviously he's talking about Swerve, but I think they maybe want to leave it open that he might be talking about Danielson. And he rolled his suitcase over.
Yes, no, Jonathan got to the point. I was like, that's the worst bump Uno's probably taken in a while because those things are painful. Was the whole getting into a fight in the office a shot at Punk?
Maybe.
Okay.
Probably.
Or did I overthink that? That's a possibility too.
It may be a stretch, but
hey, that's Evil Uno. Hey guys, I'm in the casino.
Can I ask you something though? Why would he need to get into a fight over trying to get into this match when they just let Evil Uno in? Like, why wouldn't Tony just put him in the match? Right?
It's like, you know what? That would have been a funnier segment. It's like, I went in there and fought Tony Kanaga, and Uno just passes by. Dude, why didn't you just ask nicely? They need 21 people for this stupid thing.
Yeah, and meanwhile, he might be in it, but he might not actually get in it.
I fought to get in. Really? I just asked.
What? You know what? This would be great if Hangman actually doesn't get in.
You know that's going to happen. And he's going to be rampaging in the back.
Well, what's all this Jarrett stuff?
Because it's going to be this. You know what it is? But they've already done that once. They did that with Roddy.
Yeah. Or no, it might just be he's pissed off, and it's not going to be like he gets the world title shot. He's just
he's getting in because they're going to do a spot where either Uno pancakes Hangman with a chair, or Hangman just beats up Uno again.
And we're probably going to get a Jarrett Hangman extended sequence in this thing too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Jarrett's probably going to be in this too.
I
We've got I
Orange.
assume the Undisputed Kingdom are in it. We've got the conglomeration minus Willow. We've got Hangman, Uno.
Probably Ricochet.
This sounds like every Rampage Battle Royal we've ever had. Yeah. So it was going to be all the big names.
Except we're going to have so many people in the ring, we're not going to be able to get a pinfall.
Maybe Okada, maybe Mox. Who knows? Because Kazuchika Okada wrestled Claudio Castagnoli for the Continental Championship. This freaking match. Okay. They're both very excellent wrestlers. Okada has his.
Are you going to break some people's hearts? That's what this is sounding like. You know, you're a nice guy, Jeff. But
Okada has his style that he works, and he wrestles it. He wrestled it in New Japan, and if you've ever watched him in New Japan, if it's your first time ever watching Kazuchika Okada and you decide to tune into the G1 and watch an Okada match, you're going to be watching for about 10, maybe 15 minutes and say, "Oh, I don't get it. What is the hype about this guy?" And by the time the match is over, you're going to think, "Oh my God, I just watched the best guy in the world." And that's what this was. Like, they started wrestling and there was nothing going on, and the crowd's dead. Every once in a while, they chant Okada. Okada was 100% the babyface here. They didn't really, yeah,
okay,
yeah. Although I mean,
because he was selling bumps like The Rock after he took the spear from Roman in WrestleMania. The big mouth open.
So they went to the point where he did he does the stuff that he always does. He does the shotgun drop kick, body slam, went to the top, hit the elbow drop, and then he did the Rainmaker pose, except he flipped the fans off instead. And now everybody pops for that. Then he walks over to Claudio, and then Claudio did the Taker sit-up, and he did the giant swing on him. And this is where the fans started to get into Claudio, and this is where the match actually picked up. So the crowd counted to 20. They claimed it was 20 revolutions. This is me as Dave Meltzer. It was more like 14. And then he let him go. Fans chanted one more time. Then he hit a drop kick out of nowhere like he always does. Missed the Rainmaker. Claudio hit an uppercut. Went for a neutralizer. Okada countered with a shoulder breaker. Crowd was just going nuts at this point, chanting AEW. And then Buzzkill Bobby Cruz announces 1 minute left. And at this point, like, I had no idea this match was 20 minutes. I'm sure Bobby Cruz probably said it in the ring intro. Nobody pays attention to the ring intros. I forgot what the rules of the C2 were. And I'm telling you, most people watching either forgot about it or never saw it in the first place. Yeah. And the announcers got to tell you, like, they could have even said Okada's working a deliberate pace because he knows.
Hold on, rules? There are rules for this belt? I forgot about them. I know there are.
No seconds at ringside, no interference. You get fired if you interfere in a match. So they could have. There was a story you could have told. That's why the opening of the match was so slow, because Okada knows.
Yes.
You've only got 20 minutes. When you watch New Japan and they have their TV title, which is a 15-minute time limit, that's the whole story of the match.
Well, that's the story of a TV title from time immemorial until the pay-per-view era, when they started defending it on the pay-per-views, which was a ridiculous thing to me. The TV title was usually a 15-minute match, so you'd have a main event on TV every week, and you'd be able to see, whatever, etc. type of
And the point is that the challenger has to pick up the pace because he's only got a certain amount of time to win. The champion wants to stall because Larry Zbyszko, you want to hold this title forever.
Most of your TV champions were heels for this reason. Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard.
Exactly. So anyways, so they did this, and of course the fans, then they chant 1 minute, and then all of a sudden they slow right down, and they trade uppercuts. Claudio hits a pop-up uppercut. Okada rolled out of the ring, got caught in the ropes. Claudio's trying to pull him in, can't get him in, so he double stomped him. Okada grabbed the ropes and he covered, but Okada kicked out and then he tried to roll away, and then the time expired, and that fans booed.
I'll ask a question. Why are we wasting a draw on Claudio? I like Claudio. Don't get me wrong. He's never going to be in that upper echelon of champions, though.
I think it's more about Okada than Claudio.
Okay.
I think the point is that Okada is half-assing it. And
he needs to do 6 or 7 of these draws in a row.
Yes.
You need to tell that story then.
Yeah, and he needs to...
No, that's a great idea. And I love that idea, but you got to tell it as opposed to, oh, he once did a draw with Claudio.
So the next time he defends the title, he's like walking out of the ring and like, he's not going to get counted out, but he's going to
milk the time. He's milking the clock. No,
Yeah.
I like that. I love that as an angle idea.
They need to put a clock on the screen, or they need to do 5-minute time count. I'd say the clock on the screen would be the best way to do it.
And on the jumbo, so you can take a look at it.
But you could also just do, hey, 5 minutes has elapsed, 10 minutes has elapsed, 50, and do it in every match. And every once in a while, a match ends at 6 minutes. You know what I mean?
And don't get me wrong, there are probably better wrestlers that this gimmick could be given to. Like, this should have probably been like the Jack Perry angle.
Jay White
too, yeah.
Jay White would be perfect.
If we're doing it with Okada, cool. Yeah. Let's go all the way with it then. Tell that story. Next week he fights, some member of the Bang Bang Gang.
Except I wouldn't be shocked if we don't see him defend this title until the C2, the way they're talking right now. Yeah. So the EVPs come out and they tease, give him more time, and then they refused. And I think it was Matt says, you see, the contract for this Continental Classic says he only has to wrestle for 20 minutes, not 25. As you know, we're EVPs and we have to be sticklers for the rules. So why didn't Tony Khan overrule this like he did last week? Because they're inconsistent with their rules. It says, great effort, Claudio. Maybe next time. Now remove yourself from the ring because we have a match. And if we have to, we will physically remove your ass from the ring. And I noted here that Jack Perry's with them as well. Now, at this point, do you know when this match was announced? Like when AEW made it public that this match was happening?
This 6-man?
Yeah.
It was recent. It might have been like this morning.
It was this morning. It was about 2 hours before the show was taped. So I would venture a guess that most of the people in the building had no idea that there was a match scheduled.
That might sell tickets.
Okay, that's a whole other issue, and we've beaten that drum.
I know.
Okay, that wasn't the point I was going to make here.
People might watch the show.
Not only that, the people watching on TV, probably most of them didn't know either.
Everybody follows everything that they put on Twitter. Don't you know that?
So here's my point. They only announced it 3 hours earlier. Why not do what you did, do this angle, they start to brawl, Darby runs out, then FTR runs out.
Let me holler at you, player.
And then, or just Tony Schiavone says, hey, Tony Khan has just made this match official. We're going to have this match. The crowd would have went nuts. Yes. They would have thought, we're getting this match that we didn't even know was happening. This is
Chris
awesome.
Daniels comes out because they were cheering him before. All right, hold it. You guys want to fight? We have some time because
we got some time. Yeah,
because this certain thing happened or whatever earlier and knocked him out. Now
we have the time because the match just went to a draw.
No. We can't say that. But
no, I know. But no, I
think or something.
If they would have just done this like as an impromptu match, like I don't know what the point of announcing it on Twitter is. 3 hours before the show, you might as well just make it a surprise match on the show. I don't
disagree.
Yeah. So they had this, they had this match. And the funny thing is, I'm writing down that Perry was there. Like, I didn't even realize he was in the match, but he was. So it was Darby and FTR against the Bucks and Perry. And they worked a mile a minute because I think they were probably running low on time.
It felt like a Collision main event. It was fine. I liked it.
It was a little shorter than a Collision main event, but because we still had the Danielson Swerve thing coming. So Darby was going nuts. Everyone was in the ring. The ref was just completely losing control. The spot that took us into break was Nick kicking Darby off of Matt's shoulders like a doomsday device. Back from break, crowd's pretty hot. We got FTR chants. Dax made a tag, ran wild on the heels. They do a spot where the baby faces have the heels and sharpshooters, but they all made the ropes. And then Nick said, screw this. And they grabbed their belts to leave, which never works. I think Cash did a dive onto them to stop them. Back in the ring, Darby
Cash was on it tonight.
Oh, yeah. Well, he found out he didn't have to job. Everyone looked at this match and said, oh, yeah, Cash is taking the L.
He's in a country where he couldn't hold a gun, so it was great.
Yeah. So, Nick hit a code red, or got hit with a code red by Darby. Perry hit him with a Scorpion Death Drop. Shadow Machine by FTR on Perry. Then they hit the Power and Glory on Matt. And then Darby hit the coffin drop on Matt and got the pin. So that was that. Good match,
Yeah, Yeah, fine match, and then this post-match.
Okay, so the post-match, it's the Acclaimed, and the music plays. They don't do the rap. It's just a straight promo. Max Caster says, calls FTR and the Bucks the court jesters and his two favorite princesses. He says they're two different kinds of pro wrestlers, and he says, and then there's us, the Scissor King and the best wrestler alive. I got to give you credit. You're considered the two greatest teams in the history of our sport, but neither of you guys could beat me and Anthony last week. On Sunday, the Kings get crowned, the belts come home, and it's time to nut up or shut up. I actually like this promo.
It wasn't bad. It was just one of those things where I was expecting, the rap about FTR and the rap about that.
Just a straight promo. And then Bowen says, as much as we want to come down there and beat your asses, we got nothing left to prove. You can't beat the Acclaimed, and this won't change Sunday at all in. Max and I are going to fight until we're the next AEW champions. Why? Because everyone loves the Acclaimed. And that was that. So.
And then they had Daddy Ass say something, didn't they?
I don't think so.
I thought they did.
If they did, I'd write it down. It's possible.
If they did, it was bad. I like a little bit of seriousness from the Acclaimed.
Scissor me, Daddy Ass. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
No, they didn't do the scissor me part, but I think they may have.
But I thought, I like this kind of edge that they have now, the Acclaimed.
It's interesting. It's one of those things where we thought it signaled a heel turn, and it's just probably just a little bit of edge.
I think they're the tweener.
Maybe they're edging. Maybe that's going to be their new gimmick instead of scissoring.
Oh, maybe they're going to be edge heads.
We are going down a dark road. Let's just move on.
All right. Renee's backstage with Will Ospreay. This is funny. So he's being tended to by a doctor to cure, to fix this hole in his head, and Renee's like, "Go away! I got to talk to him." So the doctor leaves. And then before he can answer any questions, Bryan Danielson shows up and he says, "I saw what happened. Look at me." And he looks at him and he says, "Do it. I mean it. Do it." And then he walks away and Ospreay's all confused. And
I like this.
Yeah, it was fine. I just thought it was ridiculous that Renee wouldn't let the
journalism takes precedence over your personal safety.
Yeah. And Will's look was the Danielson was great. Will was okay. He was just like,
actually, I kind of wanted Danielson to add in, instead of just saying do it twice, just say do it. You'll be doing us all a favor.
Yeah. This would have worked even better if MJF had maybe attacked Wheeler Yuta or something. I would have liked to have seen MJF actually do the move to somebody that Danielson cared about, and then. But then we're not building MJF Danielson.
Or if Danielson just kind of, you know what, he's a prick. Do it.
Yeah. Just shut him up for all of us.
Shut him up. Do it. That kind of thing.
Yeah. It is kind of ridiculous that he's afraid to do this move. And the guy that he did it to is getting a world title shot at Wembley.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the logic that we're asked to forget. All right. So now we got the main event.
Actually, I said, I forgive you. Now do it to Max.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. So Nigel McGuinness is in the ring, and so they had advertised this. It was the final showdown between Swerve, Strickland, and Bryan Danielson, hosted by Nigel McGuinness.
Yes.
Now, I believe, I could be wrong, I think there might have been one Dynamite where somebody didn't make it and Nigel did guest commentary. But I don't think anybody's ever seen Nigel McGuinness on Dynamite. Other than, I think when they did the All-In announcement, he might have been in a backstage thing with Tony Khan.
He was. You're correct on your thing, and I think you're also correct on he filled in on commentary once and did his
But other
shtick.
than that, he's never been on Dynamite.
He's only been doing Collision.
Right. I think there's a lot of people that probably doesn't know who he was. And I think these fans in the building knew who he was. I think everybody knows who Nigel McGuinness is. I just think they didn't know why he was doing the heel shtick. Well, that too. So he says, "I'm here to introduce a man whose star is blazed across 2024. Undefeated, franchise player in AEW, the most dangerous man."
By the way, lost in a 3-way.
Oh yeah, that's right. The most dangerous man in AEW today, ladies and gentlemen, and sheep. Give it up for the world champion Swerve Strickland. And great intro he did for him.
Yes.
And I was expecting him to say, "And Bryan Danielson."
I was looking for the for the burial of Danielson at some point. It didn't come.
I think maybe it was planned, but it didn't happen. But anyways, so Swerve comes out, Nana's dancing, crowd's doing the chants, and it's like, after all that work they did last week,
we got two guys trying to get heel heat. We got Nana doing his little shtick.
And Swerve wasn't exactly shooting it down. So anyways, they get out there, and he says, allow me to introduce his opponent at Wembley Stadium. But before we get to that, champ, what an honor it is here to have you. Now, Bryan has made no secret about his physical condition. There's a lot of names you can call him. Brittle Bryan, the neck break kid.
Neck break kid got me.
Yeah. Whereas you, champ, you're in the best shape of your life. So a question for you. How does it feel going to this match as an overwhelming favorite? And Nana's still working the crowd. You know, whose house? Swerve's house, blah, blah, blah. And Swerve talks about all the people he beat to get here. He says, beat Hangman Page 2 times, Jay White, Konosuke Takeshita, Samoa Joe, Claudio Castagnoli, Christian Cage, and the man who put Bryan Danielson's neck in the jeopardy that it's in now, Will Ospreay. Bryan Danielson, I will respect you from head to toe at All In. I will dissect you, purposely, menacingly, and scientifically. And then Nigel says, an interesting list, champ. And with that in mind, and before he can finish, Swerve says, hold up, I'm not done. As much as I truly appreciate Danielson being the generational wrestler he is, 2 Washington State wrestlers in the main event of All In, I can't help but feeling disrespect from you. You're ready for retirement? That's a slap in the face for your world champion, because you're trying to take that from me. You're not taking that moment from me. I'm going to take it from you. I'm going to do something to you that makes sure you don't get that itch, that you're not capable of getting back in the ring after All In. If by some act of God and reviving your body that I decimated All In, maybe you do get the itch. Maybe you get that fighting spirit that wakes back up and fires you up and makes you think you can do it again. You want to go to some independent wrestling show in the state of Washington. Maybe you think you can do an independent show without me knowing. Well, I'm going to be there and I'm going to beat you down. Maybe you want to go to Arena Mexico and hide under a mask. I'll be there in the streets and I'll beat you down. Maybe it gets to the point where you're feeling it a little bit and you say, I'm going to have a sit down with my family. Hey, honey, I'm going to get back in the ring. I think I can do it again. Guess where I'm going to be? I love this. I thought, this is Swerve was serious and he's harkering back to the Hangman thing, being in his house and like he's reminding people if they just wouldn't have done that freaking stuff with Nana. But I mean, everything was there. His emotion was there. The words were there. I thought it was really good. You got any thoughts on this before I get to Danielson?
No, that was good. Other than the whose house crap that's going on behind him.
He should have just left him backstage. But so Danielson's music hits. He laid out Swerve with the Basaku knee. Swerve bails, grabbed a mic, and he says, maybe you're confused. Maybe a lot of people are confused because I don't come out here for 20 minutes every week and talk about myself. I know the truth. I know who I am. I know a lot of people say it and throw it around like a catchphrase, but you know it. I know it. I'm the best fucking wrestler in the world. And they bleeped out the F word. And as I've been for the last 20 years, fans start chanting, yes. So you think you can say you're going to beat me, that you're going to retire me and cripple me in front of my daughter this Sunday at Wembley Stadium in front of fans who have paid to see me for the last 25 years, for my peers who I've traveled the road with for the last 25 years, and in front of my family, my wife, my son, my daughter. You said you're going to cripple me? You're going to have to damn near kill me because I'll leave my soul in this ring. Tonight, there's been a lot of talking about fighting, and there's been a lot of talking, there's been a lot of fighting, and there's only one question left. Can Bryan Danielson, the American fucking Dragon, beat Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship? And the fans chanted yes, and he milked it for a bit, and he says, they know the answer, you know the answer. And fans chanted yes some more, and Excalibur did the hard sell for Sunday, and that was that. And it was phenomenal. Great
10-10, no notes, perfect.
Yeah, so that is your final build for All In, and I mean, it was a rocky road to get there, but I think
what I would have, and I take that back. There's one note.
Okay.
He should have said, that the people here are paying to see me, my wife, and the millions who can order it on pay-per-view.
Yeah, but that's not Danielson.
Give me the hard sell, baby. Come on.
I think Excalibur might have said that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that was that, and so like I said earlier, we got 10 matches for Sunday, 9 on the main card, 1 on the pre-show. I'm sure we're going to get more. There's a 2-hour pre-show on Sunday. I'm pretty sure like at least a half hour that'll be just talking. But
no, they like to put the matches on there. There'll be some RJC shenanigans.
Yeah. Be like last time it was 90 minutes and then they did 60 minutes of matches. So I expect they'll do maybe 90 minutes of matches this time. Who knows? I mean, they might have 2 hours of matches. I'm sure Tony hasn't even signed half the people that are going to be on the show yet. But we got to do a quick little rundown here. We got a little bit of time. So on the pre-show, it's Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway against Willow Nightingale and Big Tomohiro Ishii. So they got possibly the best in-ring wrestler of his generation wrestling Stokely Hathaway. I don't know.
Willow pins Stokely.
Possibly. I mean, I'm not sure if they're allowed to be in. The winning team gets to choose the stipulation of the match. There was a funny line.
What do you mean the winning team gets? Oh, you mean the between Statlander and Willow?
Willow okay. At All Out. Yeah.
Yeah. No. There's gonna be physicality between Willow and Stoke, and that's gonna lead to the pin somehow, even if she doesn't pin it.
There was a good line in the build-up for this, and it was it was Stokely in his promo right before he was informed that this match was happening. He says that Willow has been hiding behind a short little bald man, and who does that? Like it was he delivered it better than I did. But
no, I can imagine it.
So the babyface is gonna choose a stip for
actually,
her own
yeah,
yeah,
right.
I'm thinking maybe I could be wrong, but I think maybe it's gonna be Willow.
Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe Stokely ends up doing physicality to Willow and somehow Stat pins Willow after that.
Willow, or even maybe somehow Stokely pins Ishii. God forbid.
Be too.
Yeah.
Statlander slams him.
Timeless Toni Storm against the Glamour Mariah May. Up until tonight,
I was pre-show.
No, this is the main card.
Okay.
Up until I think this might open the show too. I up until tonight I was 100% thinking that Mariah May was going to win this title, but I'm thinking now it might be Toni.
I think Tony's keeping it.
Yeah, and I know Mina tonight, so I don't know if she's going to be there. She was on last week, so
it feels like, yeah. I could see this being overbooked and having Mina be part of it.
There's rumors that Jamie Hayter is going to be around, but I think it would be the Britt and Mercedes match.
Yeah, I think they'll get over their issues and work with each other.
Or she'll just take Britt's place and we say bye-bye to Britt for a while.
Maybe.
Yeah. MJF and Will Ospreay for the AEW American Championship. And I guess if Will wins, it'll go back to being the International Championship. Got to be Will, right?
Yeah. Although this is so weird that they just take it off of him just to put it back on him.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was a consolation prize for not getting the main event, I guess.
Yeah. But he'll get his moment.
At the time, it was like, oh, you can always do it next year. Got some bad news for you. It's going to be in Texas next year. Jack Perry and Darby Allin for the TNT Championship, bearing in mind that Darby has a world title match in 4 weeks after this at Arthur Ashe. So I would have thought Darby, but because this sounds stupid, but because he has a world title match, I'm expecting Darby to lose.
He got the pinfall this week. I think he loses on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, and then goes into I know somebody in the Discord. It might have been Garrett.
They'll heat him up.
If you want to get into the Discord, gg@fightgamemedia.com can get you in. He described Darby as one of the hottest wrestlers they have, one of the only hot wrestlers they have, and you want to keep him hot. And I'm like, I don't really see him as hot, but oh well.
I could see a count-out finish.
But Garrett doesn't watch Rampage and see him doing a match where Butcher beats him for 90% of the match and then he flukes out a win at the end. Or a tag match with Hologram.
No, you can't do a count out. It's a coffin match, dummy.
Yeah. Darby losing a coffin match? I don't know.
Okada gets involved?
Or maybe a new heavy for Jack?
Could be, but he'd have to be part of the Elite, wouldn't he?
No, just
unless that becomes the story.
Maybe like AR Fox. I don't know.
Oh, God. Okay.
Did he get his passport? Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker for the AEW TBS Championship. I think Mercedes retains. Got to have some heels win, right?
I think they're gonna try hard.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I think this match is gonna be fascinating. I want to see. Britt thinks she's a great worker. Mercedes is a great worker. Let's see how it goes.
I say Mercedes retains, and as she's celebrating, her celebration is interrupted by the returning Jamie Hayter.
I could see that.
Yeah.
2-on-1 beat down, and then Hayter comes in for the save.
Yeah, you could do that. Or just, you don't even need that. You can just have Britt leave, and then, and then she, she's celebrating. And
yeah, you're getting the music, though. That's what
yeah, you'll get the music. I don't know if people are going to remember the music, but as soon as they see Hayter, they'll go nuts. They'll be like, oh my God, Blair Davenport's in AEW.
Wow.
All right. What is this? Oh, Casino Gauntlet match for an AEW World Championship match. So we got Orange Cassidy, Mark Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, Hangman, Evil Uno, and 17 people to be announced. I think some of those 17 people might be the Undisputed Kingdom. I think this is where we see the debut of Ricochet, possibly Michael Oku. I wouldn't.
Matt Riddle.
I hope not. Michael Oku, maybe. Did I say Michael Oku already?
You've said it twice now.
Okay. There was another name I had. Oh, possibly Okada. He's not announced for a match, so could see him. Moxley.
The Motor City Machine Guns.
If they're not in WWE, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Weird that nothing's been announced for them, eh? There's always. I mean, if Evil Uno's in there, I mean, it could literally be anybody. I mean, Butcher's got to be in there, right?
The grizzled young veterans. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, hey, I could see that. And the fans would pop for that. At least one of them, anyways. You get Zach Gibson out there. You can do a promo
Zach
on his way to
Gibson.
the ring.
They need to take your shoe off, all that other stuff.
Soon to be recognized.
Yes.
All right. And who do you think?
I got Ricochet winning this.
Okay, so the winner it's getting a future AEW World Championship match. They don't say when. People assume it's All Out. I don't think it's gonna be Adam Page.
I don't think it's going to be All Out. I think it's going to be Ricochet, and they're going to hold on to it until Ospreay gets the world title back.
That's not back, but
gets it. Sorry, I realize he.
I mean, that's possible. Not a bad choice. I am
actually. You know what? The obvious thing is Hangman.
It is, but then if Swerve loses, then maybe Danielson gets the world title, and now Swerve's got to chase him.
Well, I think Swerve's getting the title back sooner than later from Danielson.
Or again, maybe Hangman beats Danielson for the
title. That could be it too, yeah.
Yeah. In his hometown, in his retirement.
Yeah, no, that's the okay, there you go. There's the obvious choice.
Okay, I'm gonna go out of the box. I'm gonna say Moxley is gonna return and he's gonna win.
Okay.
So that's it. I'm probably gonna be wrong, but that's my pick. Chris Jericho versus Hook, and if Hook loses, he can never challenge for the FTW champion for as long as Jericho is champion. That's such a stupid stip. Because I mean, how long is Jericho gonna be champion anyways? But whatever. I think Hook wins. No, I'm going Jericho actually. I think
Jericho. Yeah, Jericho wins, and then Hook ruins it for Jericho against the next guy.
There's rumors that Hook maybe. His contract might be running out too. I've heard. Haven't heard any confirmation on that or anything. I don't know if WWE would be interested in him at all, but he'd be a project for sure. He's got some charisma, but he's not great in the ring. So
he's too small for WWE right now.
He really is. And not just training and vitamins can help you a little bit, but
yeah,
kind of tiny.
He has a lacrosse player's build, so he could be small. So
yeah, he could be okay in NXT, I suppose. The Young Bucks and FTR and the Acclaimed for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. Okay. I don't know. It could be any one of these three teams. Probably the Bucks retain, I would think, given that Matt took the pin, but.
But they're doing fewer dates.
I have a funny feeling it's gonna be Acclaimed.
I'm gonna go with FTR.
Okay, I hope.
I think they put the belts on them and send them to Collision and hope that bumps the numbers up there, but I don't think it will.
I hope you're right. I really hope you're right because I don't like the Acclaimed. Anthony Bowens is wrong. Everybody doesn't love the Acclaimed.
I just think
I'm
we've
one.
seen the act and we've seen him with the titles, and it doesn't do
Yeah.
much.
Unless they actually turn heel, dump Billy, and do something dastardly to win these belts, then I might get behind them.
Okay,
And-
no, I can go with that too. Yes, that would be the caveat.
Yeah, and then Matt starts cutting actual bad,
Yes,
like scathing promos.
Old
Yeah.
school promos like you used to.
4-way London ladder match for the AEW World Trios Championship. So, you know, between that match we just mentioned, the 3-way tag, this 4-way trios match, and the Casino Gauntlet match, there are 3 matches involving 39 people.
Yes.
There was 42 people wrestled on both nights of WrestleMania combined. There was 14 that wrestled on the entire SummerSlam card.
Yes,
combined.
but this is the version of WrestleMania where they have the battle royals, so everybody gets on the show.
This is the version of WrestleMania we used to get in the Attitude Era when when you had 75 people on the show. Anyways, so the 4-way London ladder match. It is the Patriarchy defending. So that's Christian Cage, Killswitch, and Nick Wayne with Mother Wayne versus the Bang Bang Gang, Juice, Austin, and Colton. Oh, Jay White's probably going to be in that gauntlet match too, I would think. Anyways, House of Black, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews. And I'm looking at a spoiler here, so I will just say it's the winners of a match that's happening on Collision, I think. And it's Pac and Blackpool Combat Club versus Action Andretti and Top Flight.
No, Leo Rush and Top Flight.
Leo Rush and Top Flight. You're right. Leo Rush and Top Flight. That probably gives away who's winning this match, given that I didn't know who one of the teams was. Anyway, so it's 4-way match, and Pac has been talking about getting his Wembley moment forever. This was probably supposed to be Pac and Lucha Bros.
Yes, that was my feeling.
Yeah, and instead we're getting Claudio and Wheeler.
Or they couldn't decide between your idea of Moxley, Yuta, and Claudio, and my idea of the Death Triangle, so they just made them both together.
Well, so here's what could happen. Could be that Claudio can't make it back from Mexico, and Mox is a last-minute surprise, because they didn't throw that line in about Renee in for nothing, I don't think, last week, when Christian called her a bad mother. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, so or Mox will show up and cost him the match, and then I would be
Who
totally
do you have
fine.
winning this?
I'm gonna go with Blackpool Combat Club and Pac. It doesn't matter.
The Uneasy Alliance, compared to the trios titles, they don't matter.
Yeah,
I think the Bang Bang Gang may get them back.
I would be totally fine with that. I honestly, any one of these teams that's not the House of Black, I'd be fine with. And the only reason,
you know what? That's my exact feeling as well. I can't stand the House of Black. Give them to any of these other teams.
No, you know what? I don't mind the House of Black. I like them. They're great in the ring. They got great personalities and everything. I hate those stupid rules that they have whenever these guys get a belt, and half the time they don't even remember them. So, main event: Swerve Strickland and Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Championship. If Danielson loses, he can never wrestle again, which they've de-emphasized slightly in the last couple of weeks.
Danielson's winning the title. Full stop.
Yeah. I mean, there's like a 5% chance that he's not.
Shane McMahon's going to come out and congratulate him.
And he actually is retiring. Like, there is a small chance. There is also a possibility that if he wins, is it just a celebration and off the air, or do we get an attack or anything? Probably not, eh?
We could get the Nigel as Terry Funk.
Oh, man. That's rough. And then you just go right to that for All Out?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you could do that.
That seems like something that should be built.
Well, I mean, it has been, but...
And it probably, and you can't really do it in the UK necessarily, because since Nigel would be the heel.
It would work so much better if it was Eddie Kingston.
Not to me.
But he's not ready, but, I mean... Yeah, or, Moxley or something, like, if it was, like, he... what
actually, what? If they're going to do that kind of... No, they're going to let him have his moment. If they're going to do something, it would be on the Wednesday TV afterwards.
I think that...
Which is the proper way to do these things, by the way. I can't stand when they're setting up the next angle at the show, necessarily.
Well, especially when you got a pay-per-view in 2 weeks after this.
And plus, it's going to be at 1 a.m.
Yeah. Well, we actually went over our time. I thought we were going to be struggling to meet our time, but we did a pretty good preview here. So maybe we'll clip that and put it on YouTube for anyone else.
Is the pay-per-view on standard time?
No, it's in the afternoon. So
okay, cool.
The pre-show starts at 8 a.m. your time.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean 10 o'clock my time, which is when we go to church. So, I mean, even if I was going to watch it, it ain't going to be live.
Yeah, I'll be doing the setup, so.
Yeah, so get your plugs in.
Shake them ropes this week. Chris Novembrino and I will be discussing this same pay-per-view in addition to anything that caught our eye in WWE and NXT. Vader Club this week is Kidman versus Mikey Whipwreck from 1999, I believe, Nitro.
I remember that.
Yeah, this is his choice. Yeah, they'll drop in your podcatcher sometime later this week. You can follow me on Elon Musk's lovely X at CrapGame13.
And I'm at Paul Ace Fontaine on X. And other than that, I mean, you can. You
were on Wrestling Observer Radio this past Saturday.
I was on Wrestling Observer Radio. I don't know how much longer.
Why am I doing your plugs?
Given that Dave Meltzer didn't even watch the pay-per-view, but if you want to find out on what happened on the UFC pay-per-view, you can check it out. Actually, no, I've heard some stuff about what may be going on going forward, so stay tuned for that. I hopefully will be on the shows, but if I'm not, there's a reason why. And so you can check that out at WrestlingObserver.com. They probably put a clip up on YouTube. And so I'll be around watching the show, tweeting, and check me out on the Discord as well. So for Jeff, I've been Paul, and this has been the Dynamite Show.